It's David Hooper, and this is Big Podcast Daily. A few days ago, I put out an episode. It is called Why Podcasters Should Ignore Apple Podcast Analytics. And that is true. You can go to daily.bigpodcast.com to hear it if you haven't already. But there are reasons for you to think about analytics. One of them is you want somebody to consume all of your podcast. I've got an easy way to do that. Something that you may have noticed if you ignored my advice and have gone into the Apple Podcast Analytics is that at the end of your episodes, it's very common that people will drop off when they sense that an episode is wrapping up. You say, hey, thanks for listening. See you in the next episode. Here's what's coming up. Start in with your outro. People will move on. They stop listening. And one of the things that you can do if you want people to listen to your full episode, this is super easy. And you see a lot of people doing it, but more people could be doing it. And that is to include your bloopers. Put in a blooper reel. These are the mistakes that you make because you're editing your own podcast, right? If you're listening to me, you are. That's a great way to become a better host. You're going to find those things that you edit out. Keep them in a short file. Put them at the end of your episode. People will stick around to hear you make mistakes. I just released an episode of my other podcast today. Red Podcast. Check that out. Go to red as in the color RED podcast.com. And it was about a woman. Her name is Margie, but you spell it M-A-R-G-Y. So I kept reading it as Margie. And I like to get people's names right. So it took me a while. I had a ton of bloopers around that. And I've got a simple clip. I'm going to play it for you now. Put it at the end of the episode. People love this stuff. So you can do something very simple, something just like this. Throw in your mistakes. You're going to get more rapport with listeners, and as a bonus, you're going to be more human. You're not going to be seen as that smooth podcast host that never makes a mistake. Instead, you're going to be a real human who does make mistakes, but cares enough about his listeners to edit them out before they hear them. Here's the blooper reel. And she started a podcast with one of the agents that she works with, Margie Feldhun. Margie. I want you to listen to this clip where this is a story that Margie tells. Margie. I want you to listen to this clip where That's it. Throw one of those at the end of your podcast episodes. People will start to listen longer, and you'll develop that better connection. If you want more of these tips, every day I am here. Go to Apple Podcast. Go to Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Search for Big Podcast Daily. Hit the subscribe button. You will never miss an episode. And if you want to keep in touch via email, I've got a newsletter. Same thing. Tips, tricks, techniques for you to become a better podcast host, develop more rapport with your audience. That is available at bigpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next episode tomorrow.